Hi,
Good
Len.
morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Good. Just trying to make sure, and I still don't think I got it hooked up right, but I'll plug it in later. We might as well start. You all ready? You
Oh,
psyched up?
yeah.
You ready to go?
Anytime. I'm ready to go.
Okay. Good morning, everyone, or afternoon, wherever you are. Good evening. Welcome to Renew Your Spirit. I'm Lynn Gaffin, and I'm your moderator. And today's guest is somebody special. We've got Scotty Rorek with us today. He comes to us from DeForest, Wisconsin, my old stomping grounds. Scotty's got quite a list of accomplishments here. He's a psychic medium. He's a paranormal investigator. He's the owner of Z Talk Radio, and that we will get to later. He's a medium at Psychics Unite, and he's also a spiritualist.
Yes,
Did I miss anything?
uh, probably, but who cares?
So welcome, Scotty, and thank you so much for being with me today.
Well, thanks, Len. I'm so happy to be here today. You're one of my favorite friends in the world.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Talking about Z Talk Radio, Scotty and I met sort of over the phone was 6, 7 years ago now.
I know that's been a long time already.
Yeah. We had Scotty did a program on his Z Talk Radio called Between the Living and the Dead. And there's still archives on it. I was looking at it yesterday.
Yes.
But we weren't too bad.
No, I thought we were very good. It was
Yeah.
really cool. It was like, yeah, we had what about like 6 or 7 of us total on there that
Yeah.
we were talking, all spiritualists talking about, psychics and mediums and religion stuff, and it was great. It was a fun show.
It
A
was
good time.
fun. Yeah. Yeah. And we went all over the world. I mean, from places that I wouldn't even expected to have heard from. We were there, but they must have been expats because I can't imagine them being regular natives that were tuning in. But you never know. You never know. I was sorry we had to quit. Start up again, Scotty. I'll be joining you. I'll join
Okay.
you. Okay.
we could do a video version now.
Yeah, wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, that would be kind of
That
fun.
would be good. Sure.
See if we
Work
can
on that, will you?
see if we can get the gang back together.
Yeah, well, some of them aren't with us anymore.
I
So,
know, unfortunately. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. What I wanted to talk to you about too was your paranormal investigation.
Hmm.
But first of all, I want to get into the very beginning. How did you get into all of this? What's got you into it?
Well, it started out. I mean, I've seen whatever I thought was ghosts or spirits um, since the '60s when I was born, and I saw them as a young kid, and I made. But it was really tough back in the '60s, early '70s when you saw ghosts because
Yeah,
not a good time. It's not even a good time even now because a lot of people still do a lot of negative stuff towards us. You know what I mean? And even today. But when we look at the time back then, it was tough. So even the neighbor kids were, making fun of me, and kids at school were that way. And so it was really, really tough to be that. And so I decided to call them, I used to call them bakers because to me, when I see spirit, they're a lot whiter than we are. They're more
yeah,
opaque.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it looks like they're white. So I said, who wears all white but bakers? So I thought that would be cute. Today it is, but back then it wasn't. Actually made it worse. So that was the early '60s. So by mid '70s, I actually tried to turn it off. I tried not to talk about it anymore, not try to
Mhm.
see it. It wasn't until the '80s when it kind of hit me in the face again. I went to the University of Wisconsin at Oshkosh, and for college, and when I was there, I have a degree in television. I have a degree in radio and film, and so when I was there, I was working in the theater for my work study money. Pay my way through school, And so one day in the afternoon, I decided that I'm going to go get some props for tonight's rehearsal and get ready for the show, and because I was building sets and stuff. So I go up to the prop room, which is on the second floor. It's like where all the classrooms are. And so I go into the prop room, and then there was a lady standing right in front of me as I opened the door in the prop room. But the key word was, I said standing, but she wasn't actually standing.
Yeah,
She was
gotcha.
floating.
Yeah.
So so it's been about maybe 10 years since I, really saw a spirit, since the 70s. This was mid 80s. And so I screamed. Yeah, I screamed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I screamed and I yelled, and all of a sudden all the kids came out of the classroom wondering what was going on. And they go, "What's going on? What's going on?" I said, "Ghost." They go, "What?" I was like, "Oh, I'm out of the closet again." Nuts. But here it was the 80s, and now it's a good time because I can't tell you how many dates I got because I saw ghosts. My dance card was filled every weekend.
Used to be a cool car, now it's seeing ghosts.
Yeah. So that's, I started coming out there, but I didn't come out fully all the way, I mean, we would do stuff. I would, I had encounters at the theater, like my keys were moved for me when I was on stage performing. I came back but I haven't been to college in many moons, and they still have never found those keys ever.
Really?
Yeah, ever.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. And nobody's like broken into the school or nothing.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever found that set of keys. Never.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
What was even weirder is I found it when I was climbing up, they have the fly loft, where all the sets go up in the air, and they have the railings. So I was climbing up to change weights up in the air. I was climbing up and I found a violin there. And it was like stuck in the railing way up in the top. And I was like, how the heck? But nobody's ever claimed the violin. Nobody's ever said they lost the violin.
Oh my gosh. Maybe that was an exchange for your keys.
Maybe. But I would rather have my keys. But so well, I'll get into that too at the same time here. But that's where I started getting a lot of my experiences. But jump again 30 years ahead, and I went back with a couple spiritualist ministers, myself, and all mediums. We all went back to the school because they let me in so we can investigate the school. And we encountered the same things. We encountered the same like imagery. Everyone felt the images or the feelings of the energies of the person in the room. They also we saw footsteps on the stage. We saw shadows in the audience. But here's what the funny thing. So in between all this, my wife and I got married, and her best friend was, her maid of honor, and her dad used to work at the university, and I didn't really know where he worked, but at our wedding we talked about it, and he says, "Yeah, I used to work on the house where the theater is on." And I said, "Oh yeah." He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "We had so many crazy stuff happening there. We would lose instruments. Our music would the lights would turn on."
Oh
So
my
a lot of the same things that I had happened. And he didn't know I had any experiences there. He didn't even know I was in that building. and so he said, "Instruments moving." So I was like, 20 years later, the instrument is just showing up, inside the building. I don't know. It was really incredible. But it was so neat to see the same type of imageries.
Oh my.
So then for me, we're jumping ahead. So that was college. And then after college, I started watching, all the paranormal shows that came on TV. And I would, the first one that I knew was Most Haunted. That was with Derek Acora from England, the second medium, who's now passed himself, unfortunately. But he was there, and so we ended up getting him on my radio show on Z Talk. And I talked to him the first night. I kind of fibbed him, and he knows I fibbed him. And he goes, "I knew you were fibbing then." I said, "Okay." But so as a radio host, I said, "Oh, everybody that's a medium that comes on the show has to give the host a reading." trying to get free readings,
There you
everybody.
go. Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
so I had Derek on there, and it was the craziest night of all for me, because he told me I'm a medium, that my spirit guide Steve and I are going to be stronger than him and Sam. I'd be in movies, I'd be on television, I continue to be on radio, I'd be doing gallery readings, I'd be teaching. Everything that I'm doing today, he told me that day.
Mhm.
And so I thank him, and I think that he's, even now as he's passed, that he comes by every once in a while and says hi, because I wouldn't be here today doing this if it wasn't for Derek, because he actually made me feel comfortable enough to say, okay, I'm going to do this,
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
But I didn't know. I didn't even know what a medium was. I thought that was the one that put the turban on their head, had the crystal
Yeah.
ball,
Yeah.
and go
Yeah.
from town to town. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
was like, I'm not going town to town, but now I'm going
Yeah,
town
you
to town.
are.
I'm still going town to town.
I looked on your webpage. You're going down to town. You're covering Wisconsin pretty much.
Yeah, a lot in Wisconsin, and I just joined a group there. But yeah, but I still went there all this year because our rates weren't high for a while, so we were able to keep the shows open. All my out of town ones have been canceled for now,
Hmm.
but they'll start coming back. So,
Hmm.
but the Wisconsin ones are going back up again starting
Yeah, I
February.
know. Yeah. Your spirit guide's name is Steve.
My spirit guy's name is Steve. I couldn't pronounce his name, so because he had a Greek name, and so it's Monopolis or something like that. So it's something weird, and I couldn't pronounce it, and he just looks at me and goes, "Just freaking call me Steve." So he's Steve,
So,
not freaking Steve.
yeah,
Steve.
no, it's just Steve. Yeah.
Yeah. He just screamed in my ear, "I'm not freaking Steve." I said, I know, you're Steve." But the cool thing about that, even in the fact is that I've had past life readings and stuff, and I've had it myself, and I understand that Steve and I were married in a previous life.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. I was his wife, and he loved me so much he wanted to protect me into this one. So that makes me
Oh, for
cry.
heaven's sakes.
I know, isn't that wonderful?
Wow. Boy, talk about carrying on the line. That's fantastic.
I know, it's really amazing.
That's wonderful. Yeah. And how did you get into psychic phenomena, the ghost busting, so to speak?
Well, that was so at the time, I was watching those shows, and I would watch Derek, and I would always say, "Well, I do that. I do that. It's not that room, it's that room." And then they walk in that room and they'd feel something. So I mean, I would, and I've had a bunch of friends that are on paranormal TV shows or were on paranormal TV shows, and I'd always call them up after and say, "You guys should have went in the other room. You'd have caught more if you went in the other room." Oh, shut up. All right. So why don't you call me before so I could tell you where to go? But yeah, so that happened. So I joined the team here in Madison, and then we started from there. And I ended up losing a lot of friends over it, though, too, and a lot of people in the paranormal when I said I was a medium.
Really?
Yeah, it was a pretty tough time. But then you go look back and you go, okay, you understand why they were put in your life. They helped me get into the field. They helped me get there, but
Yeah.
they weren't of the same level or same energy that I was going to be. So I had to decide, and it's okay.
Yeah. Well, they say people come into our lives for a reason or a season or a lifetime.
Right.
And if you look at it objectively, you can figure out which one it is.
Right. And
But
a lot of times we let our ego take over and think that everybody has to be there for a lifetime, and they don't.
Yeah.
They're here to teach. Everything we do in our life is a lesson. Everything, because the universe is, the oneness, they're all putting us infinite intelligence, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
We're here as creators. We're here as people to learn and teach. You know what I mean? And that's what we have to learn, because a lot of times, even really bad situations, what do we learn? Even like during this time right now of COVID, what are we learning through it? Well, we're learning that we need to be one. We learning
Yeah.
that we need to be loved. We're learning that our families and our friends and people that we've known need to still be in our lives. We need to be working, so that's what the good of this is. Yes, it's sad that people are dying, but what are we learning?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. A lot of times we're just learning how to do things on the computer. I had no idea how to do this before. I'm still learning. There's
Right.
quite a learning curve to it.
Yeah, to take your, like for me, to take my classes online, to take all my shows online, I mean, yeah, I was doing radio, but now how am I doing video? Because video's stronger than radio right now. You know what I mean? So how do I transition my group classes to individual classes online?
Yeah.
Very different.
Mhm.
Even when I came to your church at one time, that was online.
Mhm.
So it's amazing to see how we're still getting along and learning and growing, even because it's more important our connections. That's what the most important is. No matter
That's
how
it.
we do it, it's our connections.
And through this medium, we're able to, pardon the pun, we're able to continue the connection
Correct.
through all this when we can't do it physically.
Right.
And that's actually this. So this turned out to be a blessing. I know we went back into the building for it ended up being about 3 weeks.
Okay.
And we held Zoom classes on there too, or Zoom online, so that people that couldn't get to the building could still come.
Right. Oh.
And it's great.
Yeah, and that's what it is, because we still need that. We all, as humans, we still need connections. That's the thing. That's what we're all are. That's what
Yeah.
we're born in, and we have connections with spirit. So we're always combined. We always are having the connections. And to me, that's what this is about. We forget about that. We forget about that. But the other thing that I've noticed during this time that is the biggest thing that I noticed is the fact that people have way more connection with spirit during this time, because they have the time to sit down and listen now. They don't, before they were running to football games, out to eat or work events and that type of stuff, and now they're home and it's quieter, and now spirit has a chance to talk with them.
Surprise.
And now they're all freaked out because, oh my God, I talked to spirit. Yeah, we all do, by the way. But
now, getting back to your paranormal investigating, what was the most unusual case you had?
So many. The weirdest one was, we did now they've done a bunch of TV shows about it, but we were the first group, and I was one of the first mediums on site ever. We were called into a place called Fox Hollow Farms out of Indianapolis, Indiana. It was a gentleman, Herb Baumeister, who owned a lot of Save-A-Lot grocery stores, I think it was. And he had this really beautiful house. It was a farmette. He had a barn, had a big swimming pool in the basement. Very, very wealthy man, very wonderful family. But he had the darkest side ever.
Really?
He ended up bringing gay men back to the house and killing them.
Oh.
Yeah,
Well, I think, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people have heard about this because once you
Yeah.
understand it is, and he ended up putting a pile of men under this like hay thing. You put lye on it, and he put hay over them so they would look like a hay mound, and it wasn't. He ended up getting careless in the end, and that was the big problem, and that's how he got caught. But he would live two lives. He would live the life of this murderous type of person, and he would live this life as this beautiful, wonderful grandfather and businessman. So it was really, that was really the field, the dichotomy between both of him, because but he was really creepy. We ended up going in a house with another medium, and we both found him on the stairs right away. He was right behind her,
Really?
And her son, who was about the age of the people he would pick up. And he was a young medium at the time. He never came back after the walkthrough because
Really?
he couldn't take that energy on him. You know what I mean? It was really oppressive. Um, and the whole case was kind of crazy. And the fact is because the other medium and I, she and I stayed at the hotel while everybody else went for even an earlier walkthrough because we didn't want to be there when everyone's telling everybody about the activity.
Right.
So when we came back and then we started the investigation, and like I said, her son didn't come. By the end of the night, we sat down with the homeowners and some of the paranormal guys go, "Oh, you're just telling them about the movie." And then they realize, "Oh, right, you weren't here for the movie and the newscast." And
Oh my
so the
God.
stuff we were hitting was exactly on. And it was really creepy. And we ended up having dreams about him. And that the reason I talk about it, because this was early on in my thing, I wasn't protected. I didn't use
Mm,
any protection. And so he ended up attaching for
mm.
like 4 or 5 days. The other medium, I would call each other every day and have the exact same dream.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Now, do you release the spirits? Do you try to send them on, or do you just figure the heck with it, leave it there?
No, I try to release if we can,
Do you?
yeah, but he wasn't leaving.
He wasn't.
No.
He was having too much fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
And that's the thing I tell everybody when you investigate, you can't always move on the spirits because we all have free will.
uh-huh.
And but then that's different. So I want to explain that too. I always talk, if we're talking here, I talk the difference between spirits and ghosts.
Mhm.
Okay. A spirit is one that's crossed over, made it to Summerland, is of love and happiness, and they don't carry those emotions. They don't carry that anymore. The ghosts are the ones that haven't made it to Summerland, and that's where they have to stop. So they still have the earth emotions. But we always even both ghosts and spirits have free will. Spirits can come back and see us. Ghosts can talk to us. So
Yeah.
but ghosts are the ones that still have those nasty emotions that they've had most of their
Mhm.
lives.
Okay. And I think a lot of people don't understand the difference between the two, and they get them confused.
Correct.
It's a ghost. It's a ghost. It's a ghost.
Right.
Nobody talks about it's a spirit. No, it's a ghost. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I'll give an example. So like just about a month ago, we went to somebody's house, even during COVID here, because they were having so much issues and they just wanted to know. By the end of the night, we found out it was a grandmother and her granddaughter who loved the place because her granddaughter, that was the place she always grew up with grandma. So they were just spirits. All they
Yeah.
had in their house was spirits, and that's why they saw them a lot and they were enjoying it. And so we were able to work with the spirits and say, hey, now the homeowners knew that there was a spirit and there was nothing evil, because too many people get caught up by movies.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I think they're the bane of our existence, really. It's, I saw this in the movie, so therefore, yeah,
Right.
I'm afraid. Yeah.
Right. And the tough part about movies and TV is the fact that it's a bane and a blessing, because like I said, without the shows coming out again, we would not even have the amount of
Mhm.
acknowledgement and knowledge that we have out today.
Right.
And that's, everybody else watches me all the time, and I always wear my Ghostbuster stuff, and I got pictures of all my Ghostbuster stuff. But back in the 80s, it was right about the time I came out, before the Ghostbusters did, but Ghostbusters made me feel normal, because look at all these years where,
Yeah.
everybody was like, oh, but they see ghosts. Yeah, I know, like me. Oh, that's what you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah. I've been talking about this for 25 years.
Yeah, I know. I know. I always watch a program, and when after somebody has been killed or passed over or whatever, and
Yep.
they always say, "But I still feel her around me," and I think, "Yeah, sure, you would."
You always will.
Or I keep dreaming about her. I think she's trying to get into you. She's trying to contact you. I'm sitting here yelling at the TV.
Yeah, the more we yell, the actual real spirit hears us. I've had that happen a couple of times too.
Yeah.
I'm watching the
Yeah.
show, and the spirit from the show says, yeah, I wish she would listen to me.
Now, is anybody else in your family sensitive?
Yeah, that's a funny thing. So let me just wrap up Ghostbusters real quick. So
Yep.
I've met Dan Aykroyd and Ernie Hudson, and
Yeah.
I've been at my conventions that I do with them. And I told both of them, I said, without you, I don't think we'd be where we are today.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you guys made me feel normal.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I can't thank you guys enough for that because, but do you know Dan Aykroyd's mom is a spiritualist?
Really?
Yeah, he grew up in spiritualism. So
I knew he was. I didn't know his mother was.
his mom is, that's how they got into it.
That's how he got into it. Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
So that's why I wear the Ghostbuster stuff, kind of to just thank them for allowing me to feel good and living my life the way it's supposed to be. So, but it's funny at the convention, all these people would go up to Ernie and try to ask him about ghost hunting stuff. And he'd always go, he goes, he's the Ghostbuster. I'm the actor.
I only play one on TV.
Yeah. And he goes, and I asked him, I said, you want to come ghost hunting with me? He goes, nope. No. That's cute. So yeah, I have a blossoming family. So my wife, so early on in our relationship, my wife had, ever since she was in high school, she had a list of things that she wanted out of a husband. And I fit every one but one. And the last one was a spiritual leader of the household.
Oh.
And but back then we were going to Christian churches, Baptist churches, Protestant churches. We were trying to find the church. And I never fit in because I always knew, and we even asked churches, about what do you think about mediumship or prophecy and stuff like that. Oh, you got to use your discernment.
Yeah.
So I never wanted to go because it wasn't.
Right.
So I didn't go to church. I didn't for many, many moons until I became a spiritualist because I fit in. I knew this was good.
Yeah.
I knew I was home finally.
Yeah.
I knew spiritualism is where I am. I understand that. But yeah, so it took many, many moons for me to start understanding my spiritual belief. So that was it. But that was funny because I always say now you got to be careful what you look for or what you ask for.
What you ask for.
Because she asked for a spiritual leader, she got one, but in a different faith than she ever thought. And so that was kind of cool. But believe it or not, she was the one that created Psychics Unite.
Really?
Yeah. I'm just helping her build it, and I'm on the board, and we have some great mediums that are helping us build this group. But she created it because through her acknowledgement and seeing me do this, because early on it was like, how can you be doing this? And then she met so many other people in the field that are mediums. She listened to our show on Z Talk. She listened to that. She saw all these other people at conventions we would go to. She goes, how can all these people be doing the work of the devil? That just doesn't make sense. So then she looked at, because she was very strong in Christianity, then she looked at Christianity the same way she looked at the other religions and didn't believe them. And she saw Christianity fall apart too. So it's tough. It's tough when you're brought up this way and you want this way in your life. And so I have to give her all the blessings in the world, is because she did a lot of work and she came to the realization that we are such a spiritual being and not a religious being.
Makes a difference.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so she saw me, but her biggest thing to start Psychics Unite was she does these work when she met a lady, and in her desk, in her cubicle, had all these animals and stuff. She goes, oh, you're an animal lover? She goes, no, they just connect to me a lot. And so Terry goes, my husband, she always says, my wife always says she puts the key in, and if you hear it, then she turns it to open the door to it. So she goes, my husband's a ghost hunter. Oh, I think that's so cool.
Yeah.
But but this lady actually told her that when she went to like aquariums in Chicago, she would all the fishes and stuff would come over to her, and everybody else would leave with nobody, because wherever she walked, all the fishes came to her. So she had that type of energy, and I think from the story she had a near death experience, because when she was on the table, she saw herself,
Mm,
and then she went back into her body because it wasn't her time.
yeah.
And but that's how, but that, and Terry goes, now she understands that, nobody, there's so many people out there that don't have anybody to talk to. It's just tough. How can you live your whole life being
Yeah.
afraid to tell somebody
Yeah.
that you sense spirit, you have energy work, you're a healer, how can you live that life? And that's why Psychics Unite was born, was to not allow, and it's part of my passion, it's part of my um my statement in life is I never want anyone to feel like I did in my life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so then we've done a lot of work, and Terry actually is claircognizant,
Oh, yeah.
and she's got a lot of abilities now that she's finding out, so it's really cool. And we did an investigation about a month ago, and she always says, I never feel anything in an investigation. After this one, she came out and she goes, I felt it. I felt what you guys were talking about. I said, good, about time. So my wife has abilities too. So then let's talk about the other two, my boys. I have two boys, Alex and Christian.
Mhm.
Christian, let's start with him first. He has autism,
Mhm.
but Christian was brought into my life to teach me. So he taught me patience. He's taught me so much, because that's what I needed to be a spiritual leader. I needed to learn. I needed to be taught, and he came in that life to teach me, because even through everything, even if it's a lot of crap happening or his autism goes up, he still thinks it was the best time ever. He just he never holds grudges. He's always so happy, even if bad things are happening. So kind of like what we were talking about at the beginning of the show, that's where I saw it. That's how I saw that the way we need to live is that way. Because if we keep putting these expectations on, and then we're always like, so in essence, we're making our own hell. We're living in that.
Yep. So,
Because, like one of our tenants, we make our own happiness or unhappiness.
right.
You
Yeah.
know,
It's up to us. Yeah. It's
and
our
that's,
choice. We have a
yep.
choice.
And then my oldest son, Alex, he and I thank him, and he's so blessed because he's finally found his own way. And it's hard to be under a shadow like dad, trying to find your own way in life.
Mhm.
But he's become a very spiritual person. He's really big into rocks and that type of energy, and and card readings, and he's doing a lot of the stuff to start out to find his own path. And I'm so
Good
proud
for
of him
him.
for finding it. Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, he'll be doing the work down the road too,
Yeah.
but I didn't push him one way or the other, and I didn't help him one way or the other either. That's
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
because I didn't want him to feel like, oh, you got to be like dad. If you're not, you're not. I just want to love you for whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
But since he's on the path now, I'm there anytime he wants to talk. So
That's fantastic. There's so many kids that have this, or are budding mediums and that don't know what to do with it, because they're told, oh, that's wrong. You shouldn't do that. Yeah. I know of a little girl who could see spirit and was talking, and that they took her to a psychiatrist. And I said, oh my God. Oh, it just, and it's like, boy, she had to shut down, I bet, because, if you're going to go to a psychiatrist, they're going to give you pills.
right, not good at all.
Oh, I think that's just terrible, but yeah.
It's tough. It is tough to feel that. So
Yeah.
but like I said, most movies and most religions tell them that it's evil.
Yeah.
And that's the tough part. That's the toughest thing we need to fight against. It is this evil or that's wrong type of feelings.
Yeah. So how did you find your spiritualist church?
Which actually just shut down, by the way. it couldn't make it through COVID.
Oh, no.
I know,
Oh.
very, very sad.
Oh, no. They're going to turn in their charter?
Yeah,
Oh, no.
and they've been
Oh.
around 20 years.
Oh, that's sad. Oh,
I
my
know.
gosh.
Yeah, it just
And
the bills were too much, for our place and everything, and we just couldn't afford it anymore. So, but
I've heard of churches doing that, and it's like, oh, my God, can't you just put it on hiatus or something and then go back or someplace else or do it online or what? But don't quit.
right,
Don't quit.
yeah, that's tough, and it was a really tough decision for everybody here too. But I found them by somebody else that said that you should check out a spiritualist faith, and I said, okay, that sounds good. And so I looked up in there, and there actually was one here in town, and so I went and been a member forever until now, when we don't have a church anymore.
What are you going to do now?
Don't know.
Are there other spiritualist churches around?
Chicago area.
Really? You got to, really?
That's a few hours away. There's not too
What
many.
about the one that, Milwaukee? How about Milwaukee?
Yeah, Milwaukee, West Dallas, there's one there too. So I'll probably go there once in a while when I can get there.
Because that's not exactly next door.
No, it's not. We're still an hour and a half. It's about an hour and a half from me yet. And even there's a camp here, Camp Waniwak.
Hmm.
That big camp. They're there, but they only run in the summertime.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. I'll figure out something. I'll try to
Oh,
do it.
that is sad. Oh,
Yeah.
geez, that's too bad.
Yeah, but it's tough to see a community go down because we're all so close. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
That's some very good friends and a lot of great people.
Start your own church. Really? Somebody should. I mean, you can meet online. You
Right.
can't, somebody should do it, and then just to keep it going. I mean, because there's so few of the churches left as it is.
I know.
And oh, that's a shame. Geez, I'm sorry to hear that.
That's okay. Yeah, I mean, but I got, but I say, if I didn't find spiritualism, I wouldn't be here today.
Right.
I mean, because it helped me tremendously. And it's such a shame because this area of Wisconsin and Milwaukee and Madison was like the epicenter of spiritualism in the 1900s, early 1900s and 1800s, because there were so many here. I mean, Morris Pratt in Milwaukee.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, we in the Camp Waniwak used to get hundreds of thousands of people through the camp, and it's a shame to see spiritualism not as popular again, and it gained, and then it's like it keeps going like this all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I was talking to Stacy Kopczynski about that, and it's like we're the best kept secret around, and we've been around since 1848.
Right.
And it's ridiculous that nobody knows who we are, what we are.
It was funny on a form online. I actually, they ask you for your religion, and I actually saw spiritualism. I went,
I know.
what? You know about it?
I know.
Okay. But they didn't, for that, I was looking then to see if they put Jedi down there or whatever.
Yeah.
Because that's another religion too.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So your classes, what kind of classes do you teach?
Well, I teach mediumship classes. It's probably my number one class. Sorry, I don't know what's going on today.
All right, I've been doing it too.
Yeah. But yeah, I normally teach mediumship classes. I help students find their abilities, because I believe that everybody has abilities, and I believe that we can all speak, part of our faith. But the more I can get people to understand, so we always start out with meditation, because that by far is the biggest thing that I can get because we have to teach our energy, because most people don't even know their own energies.
Yep.
You know, and if you don't know that, how can you work with spirit then if you don't know how your energy feels compared to spirit? So we start working on that. That's the first thing that we start. And then after that, I teach them how to connect, but we all connect through meditation at first. It's a lot easier to talk to spirit through meditation even than it is, you know, so dreams, that type of stuff. So we do dream journaling. So the more we start out in those basic steps, the easier it is when somebody walks up to you and says, "Hi, that's my grandson." Okay. What do you want to say? because you know, by far that's the freakiest part, you know, and it's one that most people get upset about, is the fact that you know, they hear this thing or they feel this thing or see this thing, and it's like, yeah, but you're asking for it, you're talking to them. Why
Yeah.
not, you know, why not see who they are?
Yeah.
You know.
So I had a question, I forgot. What how long are your classes during and when are they?
We schedule, because of COVID now, I do everything individually
Online.
on one now, because I tried an online class that was, it was too hard with so many boxes and so many different people. It was tougher because I couldn't sense the energy right, so it was really weird. So I went to online. So I schedule them during the week time, you know, and they're usually, classes usually last between half hour, 45 minutes per class. A lot of times they go longer, it depends on what we're talking about. But I tried to do at least 6 weeks, but I'm not a stickler on timelines, because there's some weeks, you know, I've had students go 3 weeks between class just because they are having a harder time getting, because I want you to hit each individual milestone before we move on. Because if you're not understanding it, then I'll talk to you in the text and try to figure out why you're not feeling the same way. And then when you're strong enough, we start again.
I know with my classes, I've been having them on Zoom.
Yeah.
And that I used to have them in my living room, but then we had to go to Zoom, and there is a difference in the energy, but it's it is what it is, you know.
Right.
We really don't have any choice.
Right. I agree.
And I figure energy is energy, and you know, we're all dealing with it, so we have to learn to work with it.
Right.
You know, there is a learning curve to it, but it's you know, we're working with it.
Yeah. And I know when I go back, you know, when COVID's over and all the vaccines have taken place and everybody's in herd immunity, all that type of stuff, and we can go back to normal, or the new normal.
Whatever normal is, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to do the same thing though. I like the individual classes more than the overall classes, because then people don't feel so lost, and they're more willing to ask questions and delve deeper into themselves and understandings than they were in class, because they're all a little afraid. And if somebody was stronger than the others, I found out that the weaker ones never wanted to say anything because they thought they would be
Yeah.
kind of like school, kind of like regular school.
Yeah. So you just do one at a time?
I do one at a time now. Yeah.
Oh. That's interesting.
Yeah. Takes a little bit more time, but I think it's good. I think it's good for the student.
Yeah.
Because we also delve down to triggers and understandings, because I want them to be the most healed person that they can be before they start talking to spirit. Because then the message they give and that type of, you know, then they'll be able to help the other individual a lot more when they're not coming from a place of hurt themselves. Yeah, I think it's been really good. I've had some really great students, you know, graduate and now have their own businesses online, you know.
Neat. Yeah.
So yeah. So it's wonderful to see everybody. And my goal is to have every student better than me, because then I know I'm a good student. And so far, the two that graduated are definitely better.
Oh, great. That's fantastic. Yeah.
You know, it's great to have the people doing what they're supposed to be doing.
So how's Z-Talk Radio coming along?
It's actually on its last legs too.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
No?
We're having a hard time keeping shows, and most shows, like even mine, even I had to go to video. So I got to figure out how to do a video show there or put video shows up, or but most people do it to their own YouTubes now,
Mm-hmm.
on their own website. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot different realm here.
It really is. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. The only time I listen to the radio is when I'm in the car,
Right.
and
And
yeah.
if not, I'm going to sit on the couch, and have my
Right.
phone on, and I'll watch a show for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or stream it to
But there must be
TV.
some way to segue into
Still trying to
okay.
figure it out. Still trying to figure out.
Well, that's how long have you had detox?
Since 2008.
Really?
Yeah.
20, 21 years? Or
Yeah.
12, 13 years?
Oh, yeah, 13 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. It was fun. It was great, just like everything else. But, once again, we're changing
Mm-hmm.
because even if we're sitting at home, we would rather see the person talking
Right.
than
Yeah.
listen to them now.
Yeah.
And since the technology is so much easier, well, I mean, look at us. We're together. We can
I
actually
know.
see each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even back then, it would have been fun if we were all saw each other
Yes.
again too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So what are you going to do with that? What do you do with all the equipment?
Keep it. Put it in my storage unit. I don't know. It's still running now, so
Yeah.
we'll see how long yet. But
Well, it's because you've got a really nice web page in that, and
Yeah.
it's a shame. It's a shame.
yeah, but
But I can understand. Yeah.
But the good thing is, right now we still have all the shows on there yet, and that would be hard to find a home for that.
Oh gosh, yes.
So that's what I got to figure out yet before I decide to close it. I got to keep all those old shows because there's a lot of people on there that have shows that are no longer with us either.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to keep their legacy and their knowledge and
Mm-hmm.
history
Mm-hmm.
with us.
Mm-hmm. Now, I noticed you have been in you've been in a couple of movies now.
Yes, yeah, I have. I've been in. Well, we're still working on one. Lily's Crying, but I was in Children of the Grave 2, which is on Amazon, Amazon Prime. If you have it, you can watch it there.
Mm-hmm.
Then I've been in a couple movies as an actor. So on one, I played a strip club DJ in one
Oh,
movie.
really?
Yeah. Way different than my character ever is.
What is the name of that movie, Scotty?
That's called Nightblade.
Nightblade?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a slasher film.
Oh, goody.
Yeah, I know. But my two best friends made the movie, so
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and then I had a cameo in their next movie called Devil Music. I had a cameo as the same character. So they want to have the same character in a bunch of movies going forward. Just even cameos to show up. I played a character called White Lightning.
I'll have to check those out.
Yeah, that's fun. Bad, I mean they're slasher movies, so whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Is what it is.
So I noticed too that you used to do stand-up comedy,
Improv.
improv.
Yeah, we used to do that. That's where early on I was doing improv comedy when I met Terry, and she ended up meeting the lady who ran our group, and we were short people, and she said to Terry, "Why don't you come and join us? Because we're doing multiple shows and we need more people." And she did, and she loved it, and that's how she's been be able to come out of her shell and really stand up, because she's got a great personality, and everything's so wonderful. But yeah, so that's where we both started. Then we owned our own club in Oshkosh, and we did improv. It's very like Whose Line Is It Anyway? If you ever seen that show.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we did the same thing.
No kidding.
We were called Theater Sports, and they're out of Calgary, Canada.
I never knew how those people could do what they do. I love to watch that show, Whose Line?
Yeah.
But I never could figure out how to do it. Colin, what's his name? He.
Oh yeah, Colin Jost, I think, or Colin
I
Mockery.
Yes, Colin Mockery.
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, just no effort at all.
Yeah, and like the new ones is Wayne Brady.
Yeah, and he's fantastic.
Oh my God, he's crazy.
Yeah.
I can't sing like him, and I can't rhyme like him. But
I don't know how they do it.
I could never rhyme like that. That just
Mm-mm.
wasn't my gig. So I would stand out of the singing parts. But I mean, it was fun. It was great. I mean, a lot of the same friends are together yet. We still know each other. We had a great time, and then it was so much fun. And that was the late 80s and 90s. It was a really good time. It was a blast. But yeah, it helps in everything. It helps in being able to have stage presence. Be on these video shows.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it really does help. In everything. It helps. It really helps in my gallery readings. When I'm in front of.
Does it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when I'm on stage, and I do gallery readings a little different than everybody. My gallery show is I have up to 6 mediums on stage with me. And so all of us on stage, we don't do one person goes to the audience and picks somebody and does a reading. And then when he's done, the next person takes over. We don't do it that way. What we do is any of us, once we go to a person, all of us can go to that person.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they get a really good reading.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
And what's so cool is because then I also showcase the other mediums, but I showcase their styles because none of us read the same.
Right.
You and I read very different.
Yep.
And it's okay. And that's that's the important thing for me is that you show the different styles and show people that it doesn't need to be like the person you saw on TV. It doesn't need to be that way because it's not. Everybody reads in different realms. Everybody has different.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and then we also do the whole family or the people that they come with. So, like for example,
Oh, okay.
So example, if you come with your sister or you come with your husband and you both stand up and we read both of you.
Wow.
Or if you come with a group of friends, we go down the group of friends.
That is different. Yeah, I've never heard. That's quite interesting.
Yeah. And I also in readings where if we do whole groups, we'll do more readings in a show than I would be if I went individually across the room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even with 6 people going individually across the room,
Mm-hmm.
we wouldn't read as much.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done gallery shows of 250, 275 people in the room. So you want to get more than like 10 people the whole show.
Yeah.
But this way also gives that what I always call that pause in a show, in a gallery show. There's always a pause when they have to tune into the next person.
Yes.
And it's commonplace. I mean, it's just like any reading. That's why we don't schedule readings on top of each other. You know what I mean? Because we got to tune into the next energies.
Mm-hmm.
So, but in the show, if you have multiple people on stage, that if you're finishing the reading, the next person should already be going to get the next individual.
Oh, so you've just got to continue in. Yep.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's your idea, or just that?
No, it was one of my friends, Jennifer's idea, but and we worked together. And now I do similar to that. So yeah. But it was it's an amazing idea, and it's amazing talent, and it just showcases everybody. And also the readings are stronger, because you're getting them from multiple people.
Yeah.
I've never seen. One time we had 6 on stage total, and this is the only time all 6 of us went to this guy. And it's like one of the only times. It doesn't happen often where everybody goes. It usually happens often. There's 2 or 3.
Oh my gosh.
But this guy was like, and unfortunately, well, I make jokes during the show because that's just the way I am because of my improv.
Yeah.
Keep it light. And they said, "Oh, yep, we're piling on you tonight." Oh, I can see. I go, yeah, just wait. There's 2 more coming. But
well, part of your write-up on your page says you've incorporated new and innovative techniques to help find the answers.
Yeah, I mean, I've taken, like this is one way, that we've incorporated, that we've worked and we developed this medium, readings, galleries, changing galleries, changing, um, changing the ways to do energy work, through meditation and that type of stuff. So I'm trying to help there. I'm trying to show people individually that you can work at this. We've worked with, and the other one is I go work in with people's triggers. We actually do trigger work in my mediumship development, where a trigger is something that if somebody says something, it triggers them and it makes them upset or worried or.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I work with triggers, like some people get triggered by their wife, some people get triggered by politics, some people get triggered by, there's a lot of things out there that trigger. And I go in and I work with them to try to find that and release that from them and rewrite, and not rewrite their history, but rewrite the ending so that the trigger doesn't force that same response all the time in people.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Yeah, I want them to understand. I want them to understand, and they work through spirit with this. Spirit allows them to come through. Everything I do is through spirit, and that's what it is. So if we could take the same stuff and then they'll meditate at home for the week, we'll find what they want to change, and then we'll have spirit help us find the answers to help them change. So the more we can do the individual, I really want the individual. I think that's my biggest thing. And that's why I'm so glad it's online now, because I can really delve individually, because you don't want to talk about that stuff in front of other people.
Yeah.
So the more that you can find, and then the more you take ownership of it yourself, because that's the other biggest thing. A lot of times people try to blame others. They try to, say, oh, that happened because of this person. Well, no, it happened because this was your reaction to that person.
Yeah. Well, that's really interesting. That's fantastic.
So the more we can take on and understand that it's us. There's a bunch of.
So it goes right back to our principles.
Right. Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's interesting. No kidding. That's fascinating.
So the more we can work with ourselves, the more we can be ourselves and make, do things for ourselves, the better. And know that, and the other biggest thing was know that we can't change anybody else. Never will.
Right. Oh, yeah. Everybody's on their own path anyway.
Correct. And we got to let them go. But we have to look at our expectations of ourselves. That's the biggest thing. If because there's two reasons why people get mad at each other. Is one, they didn't do something they wanted them to do, or they did something that they didn't want them to do. Those are it.
Yep.
That's why you get mad at people. But those are both expectations you put on that person. It's not unconditional love.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's the hardest part is people want to blame somebody else and not themselves. They don't want to take the responsibility.
Correct. It is tough. I mean, I'm not saying it's easy. This is tough work.
Yeah.
But when you understand it, and when you have to be infinite love. You have to give that. You have to be of that. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. Nobody is. But the more you understand it, the less you get frustrated at others. Less that you live in that lower energy.
Yeah. Now, have you ever thought of taking the Morris Pratt?
I started originally, yes, but we didn't get through it.
Took me 5 years.
I ended up traveling a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot. There's a lot to it. There's a lot to it. A lot to it doesn't make sense, but it's okay. It is what it is. But no, I was thinking, because you ever thought of going into being a minister yourself?
I did, and I would have, but and it's an excuse, and I understand it, but it was a tough one at the time. My best friend was going to become the minister of the church I was here. He was going to become the assistant minister. His name was Wayne. Wayne just got done with all his Morris Pratt. And everything, and he was going to help me, mentor me through it, He was on his way to Lilydale to get his, to be ordained.
Yep.
And on the way, he passed away.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. He stopped at a way station because he was not feeling well. So he wanted to go to the bathroom, got out of the car.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. Holy cow.
So that derailed me big.
Well, I can see why. I
Still
can
has me
see why.
derailed.
Oh my gosh.
That was about 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years. Yeah.
Oh,
And it
wow.
derailed a lot of people in the church because, he was the main
Mhm.
part. He was the healer the night I first went. And
Okay.
he gave me laying on of hands healing in church. And it was the most miraculous thing I ever felt to that time. You know what I mean?
Really?
We felt the connection. Then we became best friends after that. And we did everything. Then it was really tough because his wife ended up killing herself.
Oh, oh my gosh.
And then he died
Oh.
a year later. So
Oh,
I just knew he wanted to be with her. So
yeah. Now, have you heard from them both?
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Always with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, tell them to help you go back into taking the course.
Okay. He heard you.
Oh, this has been fun, Scotty. I'm so glad you came.
Well, thank you, Lynn. I really appreciate it.
So thank you so much for being with me today.
Yep. Thank you.
And do have a Merry Christmas
You too. And
and a Happy New Year.
I know it's going to be a good year for all of us next year.
I think so too. And if I send you a schedule, do you think you might be able to fit us onto your schedule, the church?
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay, I will do that. I will
That's great.
send you the blank dates. You can fill in as many as you want.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Scotty. I so appreciate this. I was
Yep.
really looking forward to this.
Me too, Lynn.
And
I missed you so much. So
well, I miss you too, Scotty. I really enjoyed those talks that we had on Z Talk. Yeah, those were fun. We'll have to do something more about that.
yeah, maybe we'll see if we can get a video version.
There you go. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Lynn. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
You're welcome, Scotty. Thank you. Talk to you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.